My God. The Hylden.
That's right, we've got the Hylden with us today. This is Patrick Johnson. He is the creator of the legendary Kain and Raziel renders that I'm sure you've seen floating around for years now. And even cooler, Patrick was the lead character artist on Defiance Remastered and created most of those skins that we've been enjoying so much. So when I first saw these renders pop up online, I was just blown away and I was like, yes, this is Kain, this is Raziel. And then now these models are in the Defiance Remaster. And it's just phenomenal. So thank you for being here. And we've got Raina Audron here too.
Hello.
Thank you. Good to be here. Great to be here. It's great that like you're loving these models. Everyone's loving these models. That I've received so much great feedback from the community. So honored and thankful for that.
Well, I mean, the work is just, the level of detail in the original models, of course, just blew my mind when I first saw them. And I just imagined what a game with those models, in engine would look like. And I don't know how you did it, but we've got them now in the Defiance Remaster. So amazing work. And I'm thrilled that you're here talking with us today.
First of all, to be on this title, to make an actual title in the series is, I'm over the moon already on that. But just every time you see something like that, it's just like, wow, it's kind of surreal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially because a lot of these models, made so long ago, and I'm now using them, and now they're in the series. It's just, I don't even know half the time how to react to it. It's like, I don't know what to do anymore. But yeah, it's so cool. It's definitely amazing. I'm just shocked, really, the level of detail that we were able to put in with the characters. Mm-hmm. I was told, oh, this is my polygon limit. I was like, awesome. Reduce it a little bit, but versus way reducing it, it's absolutely preferable. The more polygons I can throw in it, the better. The first time I saw Kain in the game, I was like, myself,
cool.
Whoa.
It was a special moment seeing him. Yeah,
and I just had many of those moments because we kept improving the game and the engine and everything, and with the output of it as we went, I was like, whoa, it just kept getting better and better. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
What Play Everywhere did, the programmers to unlock stuff in the engine and to make it better with lighting and fidelity and everything, is just they're incredible. I don't know how they did what they did, but it's great.
Yeah, I was amazed that being a PS2 game, we can only improve that much by textures. So we need to go above the SR1 and 2 had the limit, and I was like, there's no way we can make it look good if we don't get out of this limit. So they've done everything perfectly. They increased the limit sizes so we could have up to 8K, but 8K is a bit ridiculous. So we can 4K and less is okay. Having Patrick's models was it's a dream come true, because he's been on top of the game in LOK fandom for so many years. His models are legendary, and it's the closest thing to FMV or Glyphex, Raziel, and Kain you'll ever get. And I think it surpassed them, because the amount of detail Patrick put on, you can see in fabrics. There's so much more. They used JPEGs back in 1999. It looks good. It still looks good to this day, but the technology's kind of moved on, and things has improved, and you can see it on the models. There's little phrase on Kain's cape, stuff you couldn't
cool.
see before. So all these little details, and also the skin, the way it you can see all those deep veins in him. It's amazing. I love the way Kain looks, and also Raziel's cape. You can see every fiber on his cape. Oh my god, it's so detailed. I love it.
I'm gonna start with my first question that I ask everybody, because this is the reason why we do this. But what first hooked you into Legacy of Kain?
So I got into the series. I've seen a few other fans. It doesn't happen often, I guess, but through Blood and Moon 2 is the first game I played. I do like Blood and Moon 2. It's a fun game, but back then, before I knew anything else of the series, I was just playing this crazy vampire in this crazy game. And even though it might be a little campy, a little crazy, a little wacky, Kain, just Simon Templeman's performance, even when he's delivering the most craziest put downs you've ever heard to everybody, just treating everyone like dirt.
How splendid for you.
He's so good at it. I was like, wow, I'm just so intrigued. And I was like, okay, this is the second one. Is there more? There's got to be other in the series. So I was looking up the other games after that, and I was like, wait a minute, Soul Reaver? Because I'm seeing Kain in that back then it was like, I don't know if this is the same series, but it says Kain. You know, you're trying to like piece this together. And I went to IGN's website. I saw the intro for Soul Reaver 1, but it was like, I don't even, smaller than 240p. It was just a small
video.
Yeah, ridiculous video with like the scan lines and everything from the PC version. But still, even though it was that small and that, you know, crazy crunch quality, I'm looking at it, I'm like, whoa, I was just blown away by that intro. I was like, man, I have to get this entire series, because that's totally different than the Blood Omen 2. I had fun with that, but this is like epic, you know?
Yeah.
I started to play, I think, Soul Reaver 1, but I'm like, no, I need to go back to the beginning. I need to play it from the start, from Blood Omen 1. So thankful I did, because unbelievable game. Like, Kain is such a fleshed out character in there. The whole world is amazing. The music, it's so epic. So believe me, I was like all on board the LOK train from there. I think the voice acting, the story is just, it's unparalleled. So like, it is my favorite game series because of just the love and the care and the quality that we get out of that. So yeah, I was totally on board.
Especially for the time, it was a high watermark for voice acting and for storytelling, and just so good. And through doing the channel, I've really developed kind of my own weird kind of love and appreciation for Blood Omen 2, because it got so many people into the series. It is a fun vampire game.
There's a lot of funny moments in there when you see it adds little slice of life moments and figuring out like what this, you know, world is, but still every like encounter you have with the humans when you're hearing their dialogue, it's like little comedy skits, and they're so funny. Yeah. I'm just like, wow.
That's one of my favorite parts of the game, is just all the ambient conversations. Like, I love the pretentious art guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, oh, you like the colors, and it's like, yes.
What was really stunning was the pathos of the protagonist. The way he couldn't decide whether to allow fate to sweep him forward, or if he should thwart destiny's cruel end.
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
Hungry, yeah.
Of the existing games, which was your favorite model of Kain and Raziel?
Pretty much Soul Reaver 2 will be the answer for that. None of them have like the perfect anything, I guess, necessarily, but like, because Raziel, I think, mostly looks the best. He might be a little too dark in color and maybe a little too blue, but he definitely looks the best, I think, from what they were able to achieve back then. But his model is also very blocky, so it's like there's a give and take here and there, but you know, it still is, I think, the best that they were able to achieve back then. Maybe they had lower resolution than Defiance as far as textures and less polygons, but still the richness that you have in those textures and the world, I think that's the pinnacle of like what they were able to achieve definitely back then in the PlayStation 2 era, for Legacy of Kain. So, and Kain's model, like, again, it might not be the perfect model, but the textures were great. Like that was the best representation from the GlyphX model down to the in-game model, I think. And just the way like he emotes in the cutscenes and everything, it's beautiful. The other characters also, they look the best in that game.
To tie into that question, what game inspired you the most?
Pretty much Blood Omen 1. I mean, when you get to the Soul Reaver 2, like the whole through line, like that whole thing is just inspirational. Like, it's epic. Like Amy Hennig did such an amazing job with that story. But yeah, just for the base of like the whole world and where this all came from, definitely Blood Omen 1, and definitely where Kain came from. Like his tale is also just great. And I kind of wish more fans like either were able to get into it, because I know it is a little dated, but it's like you're missing so much if you're not playing Blood Omen 1.
Kain just has such an amazing arc in that game.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
Like, I love that his quest isn't really linear. He beats the first Guardian, boom, okay, fine, good. Next one chases him off, and then he has to go find help, and then he, you know, gets the help, and then he finds 3 of them, and then all of a sudden he's at the doll makers, and just I love the kind of twists and turns. And then of course, if we pick the canon ending, I love that he realizes that he rejects the options placed in front of him. So anyway, sorry, a little bit of had to fan out a little bit there.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. I mean, it's great. Yeah, when it throws you that Elsevier doll maker twist, like change, and you're like, when am I doing that? All right, okay. And then we get back to it, and then you know, Mobius has been manipulating everything, taking it back into the past, and it just it's a wild ride.
Yeah. How did you get started in 3D modeling?
So originally Yes, I did go to school for film. I was trying to be a film director, film editor, writer, the whole or auteur, I guess, if you want to say. But yeah, I wrote feature-length scripts out there and was like working on some indie films and whatever after college. But then, the money runs a little low, and I'm like, I need to come back here home to regroup. And then I got some health issues that I had to deal with while I was here. So I really couldn't work in the industry that I was trying to get into. And even here, I couldn't get into productions really because I had to deal with that. So while I was dealing with that, I was using Photoshop before, maybe go back in there and start working on some like paintings. I did like the Kain's Lament painting, which people really loved back then. So that was really cool. Then I started to get into like, okay, wait, you can mod Defiance, like text mod, use that in mod Defiance. Maybe I'll give that a shot. So I started doing texture mods for that. There's an amazing amount of that you can do with just textures. There really is. Like, I was really happy what I was able to do with Kain, with Raziel. Eventually, like once I got this program called 3D Coat, like that was before Substance Painter, and you could actually paint across texture tiles and paint directly on the model, and that made a world of difference. Like I could bring so much detail into it. But then I got to the vampire hunters, and the male vampire hunters, which have the long noses, and they're really exaggerated features. And I'm like, there's really no way I can fix this. So I'm like, maybe I can start 3D modeling. We can't put them in the game, but maybe I can do something with that, and like maybe eventually we'd be able to put them in the game. So I started modeling, and the first model I did was Kain. I was working in 3D Coat, and it had some issues, and they told me, well, do it like this. I had to remake him a couple times. It was crazy. But then I worked in ZBrush, and once I did that and made him in there, then I was off the races, basically. Like I'm going to make all these as much as I can, and then of course you're like, I need to also earn a living. So, but I tried to do as much as I could back then, but then it got to the point where I need to kind of find work. And Legacy of Kain, modding Defiance, and also just wanting to recreate that series is what propelled me into this field, which is pretty amazing again, because it's definitely come full circle right about now. But yeah, even when I did the animation for Kain back then, where he's set to the intro.
Given the choice, whether to rule a corrupt and failing empire, or to challenge the fates for another throw, a better throw against one's destiny. What was a king to do?
People love that, and the job I was actually, I had actually applied for, like the head of the studio saw that, and that's what got me into there.
Oh,
so
cool. Nice.
Yeah, all due to, again, Legacy of Kain. It's amazing.
I would be surprised if there's any fan out there who hadn't seen these renders, floating around the internet. They're just so detailed. To my mind, these are the characters from the GlyphX FMV. When you were creating those, what was kind of your process? Like what would you do? Would you have the FMV loaded up? Would you have references loaded up? How would you do it?
Lots of references. Yeah, I want to get as many shots of Kain from every angle and Raziel from every angle as possible to try and make sure I'm making the details right. Also bringing them in so I can bring them in an orthographic view of the model to make sure that they're kind of lining up. They're the right proportions and all that. So yeah, that was very important to me. For Raziel, when I made Raziel, I made his human form first, then I made his vampire form from that, because I wanted to have, if I was ever going to make Seraphan Raziel, I wanted to start with that, with all the brethren. And then from there, I also used that shape to make sure that I was making not only the GlyphX kind of detailed version of the Wraith version of him, but also that maybe I could get it to where if that was Vampire Raziel, he would turn into him. So it's a little less, my original renders from back then are a little less exaggerated than what he actually is, which we now changed for Defiance. He is like the features are as exaggerated as they are in GlyphX, the GlyphX version. Like his forearms are a lot longer, his claws are longer, just his eyes have more of the triangular shape that they used to have, and they're wider. But yeah, back then I just want to kind of like, maybe I can kind of tie it all in and, like from start to finish and make it less exaggerated, with the understanding, like if I could do that first, maybe I can exaggerate it later and make it fully 1-to-1 GlyphX proportions. But yeah, like that's pretty much my process, just having all those references, getting everything. There's a shot of back then of Kain in his like T pose, or when he's completely like, it's pretty much orthographic, and that was amazing to find that image, because like, yes, I can finally make sure that he's totally, you know, 1-to-1. If I bring it in, like, okay, yeah, the mouth needs to come up a little bit or whatever it is, but yeah, like just trying to make sure that is as accurate as possible, but while also adding more detail, because again, they had only so much detail back then that they could add to it. Like, I'm now making it even higher resolution, so I'm adding more, like, definitely when I get into Wraith Raziel, you know, like anatomy wise, fixing some things, you know, adding more details to what was burned away and what's left, you know. It just, they did such an amazing job, but I'm not trying to like take anything away from what they did, but yeah, just trying to, even if I could improve it a little bit here and there.
We also had the added challenge of the rigs in Defiance, so slightly different proportions, like Patrick mentioned. The FMV has different rigs completely to that, so it's not 1-to-1 to what he, you know, already had, or like it was accurate to FMV. So if he had to slightly change the proportions, like Patrick can explain that, I think the best.
For Raziel, he's not so much, because it's just he's in a weird kind of like default pose. But other than that, that is the proportions from the GlyphX version, just on that model. For Kain, however, I did have to change some proportions a little bit. It's not really noticeable. I notice it, but like it's from his chest pretty much down to his knees is pushed up a bit, so he has less of a neck. He is a little wider because it needs to fit the shoulders, which is funny because I see people like, oh, he's too thin, and other people say, oh, he's too bulky. Like, he's neither of those things. He is literally fitted to the skeleton. Like, if you switch between, like, you will notice like he might be a little bit thicker in the shoulder for to the original, but he's pretty much just there. Like, the original though, that chest is really high, and they have kind of more of a like superhero kind of like look to him. He feels more like
pushing his chest out. Yeah.
He's not quite as exaggerated or like as let's say like Batman and, you know, that type of look, that triangle look.
The V,
pushing a little bit. They definitely they changed him a little bit for that. His waist is higher and his chest is all higher. But yeah, to get it back to not be that exaggerated but still fit to the skeleton, like I had to do that. And also his face is moved up, it gets moved up a little bit from the nose to the chin, you know. But other than that, like, and you have to do that because otherwise, if it doesn't fit 1-to-1 to the joints there that have the influence, then when it animates, it'll be really, really bad. So then
really bizarre,
we have to use existing animations and stuff, so it has to fit.
At what point in the process of developing Defiance Remastered did you make the decision that, okay, this is the one, this is where we're going to match them to the FMVs?
That was from the start. Like, that we wanted to do that for SRX as well. Like, but obviously we didn't have Patrick, so they ended up being slightly more stylized. But I don't regret it. You know, it's like a slight different choice. I like them both. Obviously, Patrick's models are a lot more detailed and more realistic in proportions and you know, just surface details and, you know, the accuracy to where the muscles are. And you know, but yeah, when I was going to Defiance, like, and I knew I'm gonna get Patrick, I was like 100% reusing his model. There's no way around it. So yeah, it was always my dream to have the accurate FMV models in the game, and obviously they kind of tried to match it, but they couldn't with the, you know, limitations and whatnot. And also different artists doing the GlyphX models, and also different people were working on the game. So you always get differences, and obviously every single game have different looking Kain and Raziel. So I'm really glad that they're more unified this time around, and it finally matches the FMV.
Yeah, and that is also Mobius. Like, you finally have a Mobius that matches the GlyphX version too. We actually have the GlyphX original model, so I could actually use that for reference. You know, I was like, ooh, cool. You know,
cool. I didn't realize that. I think it'd been a while since I'd seen the GlyphX SR2 intro. But Okay, I'm gonna put them up against each other now. And
It's interesting because some people are complaining about the new movie is not realizing it's actually 100% or nearly 100% accurate to the FMV model he has from Survey 2, because we had the actual model itself, and Patrick makes sure it looks the same in proportions and everything.
When you were doing the original renders, when you were first modeling those, what was something surprising about either character that you noticed that no one else would notice unless they were that deep into the work?
When you look back at the glyphex, like the intros, you may notice the other character's skin is not like this, but his is almost like it's slightly metallic when it has a
kind of golden.
The shots of reflections on it. And I believe that's intentional because his armor skin is kind of like it's blocking out any rays from the sun at this point. It's so he doesn't get weakened by it. So it's almost like that exoskeleton or like scales. It's very like almost iridescent. Give a little bit of that metallic like sheen to it. So when I was doing renders and I found like how this whole process works of either it's a specular gloss map that you make or it's a metallic roughness map that you make. They kind of do similar things, but like physically based render, I found out I could actually pull that in. Like the original renders I think I did of him maybe like in 2015 were a little too metallic, but when I found the ones I've honed in on around 2017, like I think I nailed it. So like just a little bit, just has that little bit added to it that it comes together and it feels right. But they were doing it without all those this technological resource. I don't know how exactly in the render they did it, because they were using like pre what we use now, basically like the mental ray that they were probably using in Maya, but still you get that hint of it, and it really comes through, and it's just like, yeah, that's really cool. It's a cool detail that they added. And for Raziel, let me see, the original glyphex model, if you see like the render without the cowl and everything, he does like all of his jaw and everything back to his neck has been like gutted. So it's like, it's really cool. You can kind of follow the through line, which is why I've seen people like show images. Why does he have a hole underneath of him and everything? Like, because that's where his stomach used to be. Like this is the whole esophagus, the trachea all the way down. I mean, when you see him in the full motion video and he's like screaming, of course the water's going to go right down his throat, burn him from the inside out, not only from the outside in. And that's why his jaw probably loosened and tore away, and why he has no stomach or anything else, because he's been literally like melted from the inside out. So that's a really cool detail that comes through in just their models that you can see, like, I can see the logic there,
I never really thought of Raziel having an esophagus, but it makes perfect sense, especially with your explanation. Did you have to fight it all to get that in there for this one?
Nope.
Okay. Cool.
Nope.
I figured you were among friends, and I think they would all understand.
I hope. I mean, with all the like blood and gore and everything in the games, I hope we're not. And the fact that he's just a melted corpse to begin with. If we're drawing the line at like, well, I don't want to look at that. Like, come on, man. We got the decapitations, we got everything. Like, I'm sure.
I'm sorry, that's just too much.
It's too much. It's a bridge too far there. When I originally put Raziel into the game, I already had like a little bit more like gnarly detail on what's remaining of his flesh, like added. They were like, maybe we'll tone that down. So that's about all I did change on
that wasn't much. I think I pretty much trust Patrick with his judgment. It was just like small like in-game stuff, like it looks a bit too noisy from far, so you had to tone down the detail, but that's more like to do with the the way he appears in the game, not like Patrick. I think the only thing I asked like you was to fix the ears slightly to be slightly pointy. That was it. Like be a minimum effort with Patrick. Like he's so great with everything. Like he knows what to do, and he knows his characters in and out, like literally at this point. So
Raziel definitely in and out.
100%.
Every hole. No, I'm
Is you're not that unfigured character, were you?
Yeah. No comment. People looking now from every angle.
Oh my god! They have photo mode, so they can.
I'm one of the worst offenders.
If you do notice on Defiance, they changed the way his hands look quite a bit. Like in Story 1, it's like the chunky claws, and also the same thing. SR2, they're very rounded. Like they look almost. I don't know. They always look weird to me in SR2. I didn't quite. I don't know. They don't look right.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, but in Defiance, they look more like fingers now, like it's supposed to be. So I think I didn't like it originally when it came out. I thought it was too different, but now that I compare it, I think we have a really good. I think Patrick's rendition is like great in between. That it looks like a finger, but it's still like a claw. Because if it's too thin, then it might look like, oh my god, how does he fight with those? But no, I think we got a good one. And also his hand is just looks like a hand instead of like a triangle, basically.
What other characters did you model for Defiance Remastered?
I modeled all of the characters.
Yeah.
Well, the main cast, basically.
All the main cast, yeah. But I think that's definitely make that distinction.
Including Vorador.
Including Vorador, yes.
Yes.
I love him, by the way. I'm so excited about how he looks.
Thank you.
Come to join the last pathetic battle of the vampire race?
I had amazing artists, Ian and Conrad, who were working on the enemies, most of the enemies, and the creatures and everything. Like I said, I did 2 of them, but they did obviously an amazing amount. I would be dead if I had to do it.
Yeah, no, he didn't do it all. But this also ensures the continuity of the main cast. Look, it's done by the same artists, and they don't look widely different from each other.
Exactly.
Which is great.
Yeah, Ian's creatures, like Archons, are amazing. The Slua.
Yeah.
So yeah, just knocking that out of the park. But yeah, all the main cast, I did all of them, which was I'm so honored to be able to do that. I do, however, not know exactly how I was able to do that in the time frame we were given. But yeah. So even the Elder God, I was able to do that, and that was really cool.
I remember we had problems with Elder God. It wasn't showing up properly because the levels set up in really strange way for his eye.
Somewhere along the line, again, they just kept improving the engine as it went. Not too long before we went to launch the release, that I went back and said, hey, maybe wonder if they fixed it by now. And they fixed it. So I was like, let me put it back in, Because originally I had the models, the model for his eye and the fleshy part that's in there, but it's just the lighting wasn't picking up in spectral, so it looked orange because it was kind of like too bright and too crazy orange from the material kind of lighting instead of being tinted like it should. And so I was like, well, I can't use that, so I baked my textures so that they would go onto the original model. And when you see the original the state of play or the original launch trailer, fortunately it is that.
Yeah, it has the
not the final version, but it's just because I didn't realize until almost we were about to ready to release that it's been fixed. I can actually put the model back in. But I was so happy that did happen because that's the real version I wanted.
I actually saw somebody complain or accuse us of using AI on his eye, and I'm like, oh my god, really? Patrick, he painted the texture, he done everything himself. Like there's no AI used on that eye. I'm sorry. It's
sculpted, it's painted, it's physically made by a human being from start to finish. So great to be able to do that. And like I said, I kept, as I was going, finding their look every time. That's why it's like, which one's my favorite? It's like, well, now Vorador is my favorite, and then Mortanius, I was able to get that. It's just like, it just kept happening. I was like, man, this is some type of serendipity going on here or something. I don't know, but it's amazing. And then also 5 of the Kain skins, which are new characters. They're put in the same effort that I would to make Kain.
They're not just reskins, as somebody was saying. We just recolored them or something. Like, no, they actually have different pieces of clothing, each and single one of them.
Yeah. And also Vampire Raziel for that skin, that one, and 2 of the Revenants, the emissive for the glow for Kain's eyes, and all the vampires' eyes.
Yeah, I love that detail.
So my thinking of that is not like necessarily that they're glowing constantly, but trying to show that that look when a predator has bright yellow eyes is in the dark, and you get that. Yes, you get the light that's reflected back at you. That's basically like what I'm trying to show there. Yeah, and then
they're not technically glowing. Yes, that's correct.
Yes, once I did it and I saw Kain in the intro, I was like, oh, that's it. That's it. Like that's the missing piece, because otherwise he's just completely silhouette. But when you see that, that's everything right there for me, anyway.
Destiny was here when we played that for the first time, and we both kind of lost it when we saw that detail. I was like, oh my god, look at his eyes. So cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, look at his eyes.
It's just amazing, because I didn't want to overdo it too, so it's just a little bit, but it's just that little bit of detail. It just makes everything happen there. So And I made sure, since I'm doing it for him, like that all the vampires are, have that it's all consistent. So Giannis has it, Porter has it, vampire Raziel Skin has it, that type of thing. Just make sure it all has that continuity, that they're all in the same vamp family. For the longest time, Pure Ariel was just, I had to put I had to fake it
she
with
was a nightmare.
textures because she just wasn't lit. Yeah. And you're like,
she was just
what's
flat.
going on? Yeah. So I had to put emissive textures on her, make her glow, because it's the only way you could see her. But it didn't look great. But it was kind of the compromise we were going with. But finally, near the end, it changed and was awesome, because now she doesn't look terrible. I don't want her to look like that, So it was all these things. Right up until practically the wire, we were how many hours do we have? Okay, we're getting ready to get the final build.
What can we still change?
Can I still do this? Because I'm.
Yeah, no. Patrick was asking constantly, "Is this okay still?" I was like, "Yeah, do it, stick it in."
Even and also just making sure all the Kain skins, everyone, no matter which one they were, have the same heart wound.
Yes, even the pixelated, the retro one has it. When Patrick did it, I was like, "Oh my god, he didn't just," and he did. I was like, "Oh my god, it's amazing."
That's awesome.
Coming out, trying to make it feel like it's in the Soul Reaver one PS1 era, the look of it, and for the Ascendant skin that they have in the game, just trying to make sure that looks maybe like PlayStation 2 version of Blood, trying to make sure it's they've all got the same continuity, they all feel like they're we put in the same effort for each one, even if we didn't do the Ascendant skins, but even if since they're in there, I just want to make sure that get as much to them as I can. So.
And I just want to bring up, like Patrick was saying about the crunch. PW is highly, against crunch, or just if people want to work, they allow them. So it's highly voluntary, and you don't have to. I want to say they really were true to their word, and the team was not asked to do crunch only if they really wanted, and everybody pulled so much weight and basically worked extra hours when they didn't have to, just because they love the game, just because they love working on the project. So nobody forced us to do extra hours, but everybody just didn't over 100% if that's possible. It was amazing to work with such a great team. Everybody was just on it, and I didn't have to ask much from the team. They just did things, and I think the result speaks for itself. It's highly quality work. Attention to detail, I think I'm really proud of. We just made sure that everything made sense. And with my Mobius dice, he also has a slit in his chest for the stuff like that.
Every time I was going into the next model, it just seems like I would find it, and that would be whoa, for me, just for my moment. And so that became this is my favorite suddenly. And I did Janos, and I got his face, and I was like, yeah, man, that's so good. Finding the character in the face, and just being blown away by that in my own. For me, seeing that on my end was just this is amazing.
And we're using the SRX Janos from SR1 FMV, and basically the way the wings are rigged in Defiance is slightly quite a bit different. But Patrick did an amazing job. He took what was there from SRX and he just improved everything. All the detail. He had a detail to his face, to his outfit. Oh my god, it's obviously it's a huge improvement, at least to me. But he also kept the facial features from 2, which I always prefer to what the Defiance done. Defiance is done, by different artists. It's a different art style slightly. They're going for different things, and I wanted to bring it more back to SR 2 we've been going for. So he has a slightly different color of skin that made him really blue in Defiance. He's a bit more almost tealish color in 2, and also the facial features quite a bit different. So I'm really happy that Patrick was able to make him look like he was supposed to. I know some people miss maybe the old Janos, but I'm
not one of them.
I'm not one of them either.
And I've got to tell you, Terrell just is flabbergasting how good he looks.
I am changed.
Finding and being able to craft Terrell, making him and bringing all the features from Soul Reaver 1 into it, but making that he's such a big, huge model. Also, he's 30 feet tall or whatever the hell it is. He's a big, giant, almost like kaiju beast. That's the biggest model I've ever done, And so getting all of the detail in there, but still making that all come together.
I don't feel like this is a random beast that kind of looks like Tyrell, which I mean, I love the old school Tyrell. But this one feels like one of the Vampire Brothers plus another couple thousand years.
Right, yeah. And that was definitely part of the goal. Like, this is a direct sequel to Soul River 2, and you want the story to kind of feel like it's the same. These are the same characters. It's the same world. So when you make the art like so drastically different, it kind of it throws a little wrench in that. It takes you out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
For Raziel, when he meets Tyrell there, he's like, the others were grotesque, and then you see him and he's not quite living up to that. You know what I mean?
No,
it's a different.
It's like a giant rabbit.
Yes.
There's, I don't know, the way his teeth are, like the face, the whole face. It's just, it is a big. It's not grotesque. It's more like
he's lovable in a way.
Yeah, you're kind of pity him a little bit instead of like, oh Jesus. But yeah, like definitely like back in Arnold Ayala, like the concept art, like when you see that, like that face, like from the side, like that's an evolved Tyrell. That would be like, whoa, you know what I mean? So like bringing that into it and still giving him like those sharp fangs and everything, but also even though he is scary, like still like with that face being more like still human underneath of it feeling, you feel like more, in a way he's scarier, but he's also even more sympathetic because you feel like his torture there. So I wanted to bring all that into it if I could, and I think I was able to achieve what I set out to do with it. So if it's reading like that for everyone else, I'm so happy.
I did have a question on one of the details that I noticed. So it looked like he's kind of got the remnants of pants still on him.
Yes.
Was that it? No, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I recall seeing those same kind of pants on the original one that we got to see in the Lost Levels.
Yep.
Yes.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yes.
And
I love noticing things.
Yeah, it was like you would think maybe it's just like the Hulk, like they're all gone when he's becoming this big. But I was kind of thinking to myself, I want to tie that back to it, but also like, okay, if this is like his last transformation, kind of like they're stretched to their limit, whatever's left, but they're like kind of like almost fused to him now to show like, yes, this is Tyrell, this is his last uniform that he was in, and also like to again tie it back to Soul Reaver, but also you feel that when you see it, it's like pulling apart, like it's tearing part of his flesh when it's doing it, and like even on the arms, it's kind of digging into him, like the little remnants of it. So yeah, it just adds more to his kind of painful existence. Like all of them. Like, I love it when like Tyrell's like, in his mania, he's just like, not even Kain was, the same thing like Doom. I'm like, oh, I'm so much better than Kain. If you looked in the mirror, like you're not doing well, So it's cool to get that dichotomy.
I don't know if you notice he has like exposed brain, like there's parts of showing through. It's like, ooh. That
is on the original, like the textures for him that we did uncover back then. So I wanted to bring that into it. But my kind of thought, he's developed such these mental powers, like the telekinesis and kind of the ability to sense you versus like seeing you because his eyesight is going. So like that felt very much like an Upraptor, when his head is becoming that bulbous thing and it's exploding with like little green bits coming out of it, like kind of a similar thing here. Like it's his body is just barely containing this, this change in him, in areas like his throat are ripping apart, but like the vampire healing is still keeping it kind of intact, but it's still kind of like it's about ready to burst, So it was cool to put all those details in there like that. I always like to bring as much like visceral like detail into it and kind of like story into each of these characters as we can. So, and
he looks like he fits between the other brethren as well. If you compare it to Mokyle, Zephon, he looks in the same vein. Like Defiance Tyrell kind of looked odd in comparison to them. So I think really happy that Patrick was able to bring his like visceral side, like all the detail on his skin and all the man. Oh my god, it looks so good.
The other one for me was definitely making possessed Janos when the Hylden Lord takes over him. And some people I've seen a little bit of criticism saying maybe it's too much, but okay. So even on the original one, you see like the orange veins burning through him, like it's from being possessed, and the Hylden Lord is corrupting him basically, like he's taking over him there's two ways that the Hylden can possess people, and that's kind of in the lore. It's the Hylden can be gentle, which will still use you up, but it'll just be less, and they won't like morph your body and destroy you.
Yeah.
Or they can just go all in, and you know, if it wasn't like if Janus wasn't like an immortal vampire, it would just kill you and like destroy you, and then he would turn you into a mutant or a demon like being that you see later in the game. Similar vibes with that, but he's being as harsh as possible. I mean, this is his mortal enemy. You know, he's not being kind. So he takes him over. You see like the similar to but just a little bit more into it, like similar to the original one where the veins are burning underneath of his skin, but I did a little bit more, obviously. He's also like part of his own his crown is even being morphed into the skull of Janus, you know, like that type of thing. And I haven't seen anybody really comment on this, so I'll add this detail that I made sure was in there was the runes on his clothing, vampire runes, have been totally replaced with the Hylden flag burned into it, and different other runes. Yeah. He's basically saying, I've claimed my stake. This is I'm taking my prize, you know, like, yeah, it's
that's awesome.
It's basically planting your flag saying, we've won this war. You know what I mean? Like I definitely want to, like, that was important for me because, yeah, you got all these runes all over him. He's like, screw that, you know, the Hylden now. So
I love storytelling through the small details.
Yes.
And that is so cool. What made it possible to achieve this level of detail where, I mean, obviously 20 years ago, we couldn't even hardly dream of it. But what's different in 2026 that allowed you to make this happen?
The games are always using the same base engine, but they get little slight upgrades and slight changes per title. For whatever reason, I believe that the SRX, the Silver 1 and 2 originals, that engine was kind of locked, like they weren't able to go past a certain texture resolution. And also maybe couldn't throw as many polygons. It was chugging a little bit more than, for whatever reason, we were able to unlock that. And what a blessing that was, because then now you have, instead of having to split the model into so many different materials and all this stuff and trying to keep all this detail, now you can do a lot more with what we have, like keep the resolution higher. 2K textures is a good amount. Like you're getting a lot of detail out of that. So and just all of, like, I was amazed, like, oh, I can use how many polygons? Okay, you know, like thank God, because I mean, I did have to reduce the models a little bit because my models are made for more of like film level quality as far as like the detail, like in just the lower poly models. But when you put it in a game, you still have to pull it down a little bit. It's still about, I would say that this would be with the same level of polygons that they're throwing at AAA games. So like we're throwing a lot of detail, which allows us to be able to do that is, of course, the environments we are still like the low poly environments that you have, and we're not like making like crazy 8K textures or insane things going with the environments, even though we're still getting a lot of detail out of the upgrades. So just in the base color textures, but it allows like the models themselves to be like, oh yeah, we can really go. We can, as long as it's not, you know, pulling the frame rate down.
I mean, if you had to change the environments out and make them super high poly, I don't think the game could even run at that point. It would be so low frame rate. So I know some people are asking, why didn't you change that? I was like, believe me. And then also we would need probably another few years to finish it. So that's just not possible, unfortunately.
The other thing that Play Everywhere, like as we went, like it just kept getting better because they developed the game, their programmers developed the game, but like they would unlock, like first of all, they got the game's just basic look, the anti-aliasing, like the detail that you're able to see is so much sharper just out of the gate. Then they improved the lighting so much, like on the dynamic lighting that's in the game is just amazing, like what it can do. You still don't get like super harsh shadows, like if you have it'll be like kind of more of a fall off on a character model, but it's so much better than anything like that came before. And then for my models, which was great, and for other things that we were making in there too, they unlocked metalness shaders. So things have metallic properties that you can put onto, like Kain's greaves, his leather pants, even if you put it just a little bit, you get that little bit of a sheen when he's moving around. The Soul Reaver light plays off it. You see the source lights, kind of like the reflection of them.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it on Seraphon armor as well. I mean, that's really,
Yes. His skin has a little bit of it. I put a little bit of that in there too. So it's even more one-to-one, like from what I used to render him as. Like, it's just that look. If you play the Petty Nobleman skin, like the armor on there, like how it reflects is just amazing. Like, I love it. So that was incredible. Yeah, I don't know how they did it. I love it.
It just blows my mind how good every single skin looks. They all look so good. And then, of course, I was super, super happy to play as Petty Nobleman. I was so excited about that. Human Kain!
I was over the moon being asked to do that because I was able to find Kain's face finally, like his look and his armor. Because I never, back in the day, like I have those renders up there, and I did it, and I liked it, but I never was quite fully happy with how he looked. And I don't know if it was the deadline I was under or whatever, but like I just found him, like that's him finally. I still have when I saw his face there, like that is what I was trying all this time, like to make a realistic version, but still you can get those features that this would evolve into the Elder Kain that we know. So, and it doesn't look like weird or like mechanic. It's finally, so once I got that into place, then I could do Blood Element 1 Kain, the Vampire Kain. Then I could do Blood Element 2 Kain. It all just kind of fell into place, and everything else kind of like worked off of that. Like I had to nail that, or anything else would not have worked. For the skins, I did 5 Kains. So 5 extra Kains. So that's a lot of Kains.
Yeah, I did laugh at that. I was laughing because Patrick's going to be caned out at the end.
Oh my God. Like, I love my favorite character, but even I'm like, whoa, all right, I might be a little...
I
can totally understand.
I was able to do like his entire like evolutionary path all the way up to not only Elder Kain, but then we go off to Cyan Kain, like Cyan and Balance Kain, which was amazing. That was creating that skin. I was like, wow, that skin, and also the Risen Conqueror. That's the Dark Prophecy one in between from Blood Element 2 to Elder Kain. Like he's just got the cracks starting. He's like the ridges starting, like a little bit of that metallic nature is happening on the skin here and there. He's on that leather that I was able to make look like leather and everything. Like that's one of my favorite. That skin, just they're all kind of like, they all again became my favorite as I'm working on them. But to get that done, to get the what I was able to achieve on the Cyan Kain, like it was just blowing my mind. So I was really happy to do it.
I do have to wonder too about the size of the sword that they murdered him with.
End it now.
That must have been a Guts greatsword, right? Or something like that.
I actually have my own thoughts on that ever since I saw the length of it and then the jaggedness of it in Elder Kain. I get exactly what I think the logic of that was. And I might, of course, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe I might be wrong. But I think we saw it in Blood Element 1 that he was just impaled from the back straight down. Yeah. If you're doing that and you really want to make sure someone's dead, you're going to ride it up, you're going to ride it back, you're going to twist it and make sure it's stuck in the ground. If you do that, you'll get that exact shape, which is hilarious. So it works logically for me.
Yeah.
So like,
I like that a lot better than my explanation.
Yeah, like the big giant gut sword is like could have been that too. You never know.
It was Cloud who killed him. That's who it was.
Yes.
And I have a question for you, Ben. Like, what is your favorite skin of Kain?
Ooh, so far? Honestly, I think the one that I've kind of lost it the most over was Blood Omen 1 Vampire Kain. I saw it and I was instantly back in Blood Omen 1 Nosgoth. But this character completely anchored that entire concept for me. I think a lot about what a new Blood Omen 1 game would look like. It's like, okay, here's, I talked about that in the remake video, and I let myself dream big, but seeing that skin, I could see the rest of the world around it. And that was probably the one that just ignited my imagination the most so far. And then, of course, Petty Nobleman is fun because I have some subscribers that call me Human Kain. Who does that look like? And
we are. Yep.
it's just really fun also to see him, grab a Seraphan, bite him, drain his blood, and it just looks like a normal guy.
Right.
Somebody call the police. This guy's on a rampage.
That's crazy. In PCP or something. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. Was there a detail that just gave you the most trouble, that you just struggled with, that just would not get right no matter what you did to it?
Modern games, the amount of joint influences that are on, like, you can have on parts of the model, like the polygons each have like points to them. So each point can have, like, in modern games, 4 different joint influences. So you get a smoother deformation that's happening. Yeah. But Defiance is limited to 2. So, and we're trying to keep that limitation to 2 when I'm skinning it, but it doesn't transfer necessarily 1-to-1 all the time. So when you get it over there, sometimes, why does his neck look like it's broken or whatever? And I'm like, it looks fine to me over here. So then you have to keep going back and screwing with it. It looks fine here. So I don't know how to fix it exactly, but I'm trying to add more influence here and do what I can. And eventually, finally, it just kind of works, or maybe it doesn't, and you just kind of have to leave it and move on. That was kind of the most.
Yeah. I remember Durrell's neck was really thin.
Durrell's neck.
I was trying to ask Patrick, can you make it thicker? But he was like, it's already okay. But in the game, it looked like when he moved his neck, it looked like it was breaking his neck when he was moving his head.
I would have influence down the neck on this joint, but it was cutting it off here. So
so it's very sharp.
His neck was breaking. It's like, ugh. I don't know what to do with it. But eventually, I tried it one more time again. Late in production, get ready to throw it out there, and this is the final build or whatever. Tried it one more time, and it worked a lot better. So I'm like, thank you, but I had to put it to bed for months basically, because it was just, I don't know what to do with it. It's unfortunate because you would get it to look great, and then it's hard to fix what I don't know is broken. So I'm trying to mess with the influences over here, but it's just it's not picking it up in the game, so. But as far as creating the details on the characters, I didn't really have any time where I was like, man, I'm just not getting this, thankfully it was all coming together, and I was like, I'm really happy with this. Because I did, sometimes I was like, oh, can you do this in a couple weeks? And I'm like, and I'm ready to start tomorrow. I'm like, I hope I can do this in a couple weeks. But it was coming together, thankfully, and I'm like, whew. But I did have to put in a lot of extra hours to get it to work like that. But that's just because I will say, sometimes you give them a couple weeks to do that. For these models, that's what we had because we were on a tight schedule. If I'm going to make on my own, in a job, a model for film or for games that's of this level in detail, usually it's going to be 1 to 3 months. Right. So I'm really cramming it down.
It was expedited,
man.
I can do this, but of course I'm going to chain myself to my desk for about 30 hours and do it. But
that feeling. So Patrick, what's something about this line of work that most people have no way to know? What's something that would surprise people if you told them?
So most people don't really have a clue how much time and effort it takes and what you have to do from start to finish. When I see someone go, hey, look at the texture upgrade that they made, it's like, well, the models are completely remade. It's not just the texture, that you can't do that with just a color texture, what have you, an upgrade to it. There's only so much you could do. And just, they don't really realize, if you're asking someone to physically sculpt a model, you wouldn't expect a statue to come in a week or whatever and be here, you're done. It's the same effort you're putting into it. When you're making a 3D model, you're, instead of even 2D art, which I've also done, but it's much more involved because you're not only seeing it from one angle, you're seeing it from every angle. You got to sculpt everything around it and make every little nook and cranny and all those details. And then the programs that we're using, program I use, ZBrush, and to sculpt, you're actually using brushes that mimic what you do in real life. So you're physically sculpting on these models. It's not. It's you're treating them like clay, and you're building it up, and you're really sculpting it. You're doing the same techniques that you would in real life to work on a sculpture. Even when you go to paint it, you would airbrush it, and that would pick up in the different crevices to detail it. And you're doing the same thing here, but you're doing it with masks. It's called, you have cavity masks, you have curvature masks and stuff like that, that you can get these little bits of detail to come through, like, you know, okay, I'm highlighting this, or I'm making this a little darker, so it pulls out that detail in the color map. And yeah, there's just so much that people don't realize goes into this, that it is a physical, like, art process, I think.
Yeah, I keep seeing people saying we didn't upscale the models. Like, you cannot upscale a model, I'm sorry. We can upscale the textures, but basically say we didn't do anything except the characters. And I'm like, sorry, like every single object in that game is been replaced with the new one. There was about 500 objects in the whole game, so yeah, all of them are replaced. There are just a very few examples where we had to use an upscale texture because it couldn't work any other way. There's a few examples like an object becomes a part of the scenery, and then if you change the object, then it will be a big mismatch. If you come, you know, in the later level, you come back there and suddenly looks different. So also for continuity, we didn't have like continuity errors, and that's why we fixed a lot of these problems between the ruined mansion and the regular mansion. If you notice, like, there's a stained glass window of a tree, which is there only in the ruined mansion, but it's not there in the original mansion. It's not, the whole architecture is off and it doesn't fit. So obviously a different artist was working, or maybe even an older model, and they forgot to copy these new changes to the old mansion, which before it was ruined. So we basically made sure it's even now. It makes sense, logical sense, that the stained glass model is in both versions now.
Yeah.
But you know, it's one of those things like which was always annoying me. It's like, what the hell? Did they just redecorate the whole mansion while Raziel was gone? What the hell? What's going on?
Nobody's just moving in. He's changing it all.
Oh boy.
I cannot thank you enough.
One thing that I've heard said once or twice is Raziel's forehead feels a little big. Where did that spacing come from? How did we land there?
And trying to keep these models as close as possible to the original models seen in Soul Reaver 1 and 2. That's where his forehead pretty much sits. Raina did ask me to lower it a little bit because it was even further up.
Yeah, it was.
Had like a 5 head.
Yeah, we landed on this compromise, like, oh, that looks good. You know what I mean? And that's where I left it. It might look different, because they really shortened Defiance's original model from the previous one. Like, his is like, I mean, he's got hair like right here, you know. So and big old
it's very small.
Yes, exactly.
So it's not that our one has a big forehead; the other one has almost no forehead. Exactly. That's the problem.
That was my thinking. Yeah.
Like a lot of these things that sometimes people ask, it really, I think comes down to perception from 20 plus years of playing the same game. You're like, why is this changed? Why is it different? Like, but when most people, you give them that information, like, oh, we're trying to tie it back in and keep the through line from Soul Reaver 1 all the way to Defiance, and they go, okay, that makes sense.
It makes sense to me. I mean, I feel like seeing that trailer where, I mean, I was just blown away by how well matched, you know, the FMV Kain and SR1 looked to the new model. And so, yeah, I mean, I totally understand that. And this actually kind of leads into my next, the next bit of community feedback. I see occasionally in comments some folks complaining that Kain has lost a little bit of how expressive that he was with the new model. Yeah.
Raina was getting back to me basically like, I've seen some feedback like he's not smiling, you know, and I'm like, So I go back to the cutscene, I show the images, I'm like, he's definitely smiling. I don't know what they're talking about. So like the original, like the mouth is completely like there's line. No deviation. It's just a line, right? So when it smiles, it turns almost into like a smiley face. Yes. A literal smiley face, you know, and that's like, it's way exaggerated, you know. So when you see Kain, who has a little bow in his mouth and is more natural for him, at least the mouth shape, like even mine doesn't do that. So when I smile, it's I'm not doing this, you know. So like nobody smiles like that. So like when he does smile and it's more natural, I mean it's kind of what it is. I did go through and make sure that it did have enough influence. So like I checked again, and I maybe add a little bit more now. It's just like he doesn't have that going on, which is funny to me because this used to be kind of a little bit of a gag, like a meme in the community, like his smile in Defiance, like
that damn smile.
Yeah, people are like, why is he
Exactly.
so crazy? You know, and like, now people want it. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
All right. He's also very wide-eyed in Defiance too. My eyes get a little bit of that because again, this has the same influence, but his eyelids are a little smaller, so it doesn't do that. Like he's not like oof all the time.
It looks like a rubber mask in the original to me.
Yeah.
It's just a little exaggerated, but like again, people get used to seeing that, so they're like, well, now he's lost expression. He's not really lost expression. He's just a little bit more natural. Is my take. But he has literally the same influence, like the same bones are moving his mouth and all that stuff. So
You could definitely see him smiling the second time. The first one maybe slightly less because of the, it's from a side view, so it's a bit hard to see.
Yeah.
But he is definitely smiling. So
it's like I'm not going to turn him into that.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I think it does speak directly to what you were saying about you get used to these models because we've played these games for 25 years now,
Exactly.
30 years in Blood Omen's case now, and we get really, really used to the way they look, and you make this amazingly detailed model, but it behaves a little differently. It looks differently. So, yeah, it's just it's fascinating to kind of see the dynamics here. And just to be clear, this isn't like a huge outpouring of comments. This is like 5 or 6. So.
Yeah, I mean, we can see it on Raziel when we're using a skin which is not the default. The eyebrow deformation is a bit, it's very exaggerated on him, and it looks almost weird on other models like a Vampire Raziel. It's like,
because one eyebrow will go down while the other one goes up. Like, what is happening? But that's what happens on the original model. You just don't know.
Yeah, that's how he is.
It's an undead wraith, I guess. But like, it's happening there. But when you put it on a human-looking face, it's like, ooh, what the hell is going on? If I could alter these animations, I mean, that would be ideal. But we don't have the ability really to do much altering on that front. So.
I imagine it would be like, instead of replacing like all the body panels on a car, you're actually having to go in and take apart the entire engine in order to do stuff like that. Got it.
And like, even seen some people are a little frustrated. They said a couple people have said that Vampire Raziel's mouth doesn't move, and I'm like, he doesn't have bones.
Doesn't have a jaw.
I can't do it. Yeah, I mean,
there's no bones, no lip sync information.
But what I did do, and I definitely want to add that in there to try and at least give something, was to give that mouth open when he he doesn't have a cow, so when he goes to feed and he goes he's delay. But in order to do that, again, back to the draw call stuff, because the original model, the regular cow is masked, and then the new cow is out like this, so it just swaps.
Yeah, they at the same time.
Totally different mesh that's popping in. So in order to do that for Vampire Raziel, I had to get him my Raziel back. It does have an inner mouth and everything, so I got him with the mouth open, and then kind of made a mesh where, because it has to fit on top of the other one, that this portion of the mesh is like pulled out. It's almost like a prosthetic in film. Like he's got the nose down. It's a totally different thing popped onto his mouth that makes him look like he's got a mouth open. But and also the eyeballs, the secondary bit of eyeballs are just slightly forward so that you can get the glowing effect. Then that's the only way you can do it. But it looks convincing enough. If you see it from the side, it might look like kind of like Bruce Campbell in Army of Darkness, where you get the chin. But it's I at least want to put that in there, because try and get something for the fans. But I can only do so much. You
can only do so much. And I am fascinated with kind of the whole subject of these little hacks that you have to do in order to make something work. I mean, perfectly well, in editing, you have to do that all the time. There's always something that you've got to do to kind of make stuff work, and then these compromises or just little tricks that you use that actually end up kind of turning into a stylistic convention almost. So I'm fascinated. I'm just fascinated with stuff like that.
Yeah, so, like I said, it very much felt like prosthetic on film, and like trying to these different tricks to, like you would do in editing, or doing like visuals or with lighting or whatever it is. But on set, just to try and make something that's not there feel like it's there, and it's really cool that we're able to do that. But also, it's a weird system with those draw calls that they have, man. But we made it work in the end, so that's all that matters.
you cannot argue with the results. I mean, all the skins in this game look amazing. Every character looks amazing, including Vorador, my favorite aside from Kain, Raziel, and Janos.
Vorador, I wanted to make sure that not only it was consistent with what we just saw in Soul River 2, but also whenever I can, I try and pull it back to Blood Omen 1 or all the way back if I can. So I'm looking at the concept and also the original model for that, where his nose isn't so crazy up into his eyebrows and stuff, trying to make it a little exaggerated.
It was really scrunched in the Soto.
Yeah, so just trying to get that feel that you can feel like that character from Blood Omen 1 also was in Soul River 2 and also was in here. Like it all feels like one continuous character as much as possible.
Yeah. I noticed that his ears were kind of a little bit further back than they have been, and that was I adored that detail. But the other thing that I really love is the overall effect that he looks old. He looks tired. Yeah. And he's not this nuclear green almost that he was in Defiance. And
the weird thing about that is in the promotional renders for Vorador, he wasn't that green. But then when you get him in the game, he is that green. Like, what happened? Why did you think that you needed to make him a neon light for us to know that that's Vorador? So I love almost ambiguity of him in Blood Omen 1, where yes, he's in green lighting, but when he's not in green lighting, when he's getting his head chopped off, he's pretty much gray. He's a little greenish gray kind of. It's not so green, and I try to get that balance in here, definitely.
Patrick, this is my assistant, Serafina.
Hi, Serafina. How you doing?
Hi, Patrick. I'm doing good, thanks.
And she just had a couple of questions for you.
My first question is, when making art like this, to what or where or who do you find yourself turning again and again for inspiration?
So there's a lot of artists on ArtStation that I definitely take inspiration from for character stuff and all, and what we're doing here. This artist called his name is Hussein Diba on ArtStation. He does a lot of really good portrait work and modeling existing humans and stuff like that. So I'm still using them from years ago, his references for these wrestlers that he did, because they're a little bit built, they're built humans. So for a lot of the characters, it would help with the anatomy for male characters. But he does it in such a realistic way that you get all the little folds of skin, and you see all that, how that plays off. So I'm I always kind of go back to that if I'm doing a full torso body to start off with. And then there's just there's other portrait artists that really they're pushing the boundary so much about how much detail they can get in faces and bridging that uncanny valley. So it's really cool to use ArtStation as a reference point to try and find whatever you're looking for in what you're trying to model. Usually what I do for character models is use some of that, but also I'll think of the character, who do they remind me of? For instance, Mobius is very much has a Peter Cushing vibe to him, so I've used references of his face for that. Janos is Bela Lugosi. There's definitely a lot in there. So then we also have Mortanius, who is pretty much Boris Karloff. There's a lot of influence from that into him. So, and then you also mix that with their actual voice actors, getting some of the details, the forehead of Rene Auberjonois, his wrinkles pretty much line up. So it's crazy.
It's such a cool homage.
Yeah, there's little details from any of them that I can bring into the models. I'll try and do that too. And for materials, I'm looking up real world stuff or armors for real examples to try and model from. And so it's not just fantasy or just coming out of the blue, but I definitely want to try and ground and make everything feel like it could exist, especially for you were talking about Blood Omen 2 or Blood Omen 1 Kain. His armors it could actually exist and it comes from medieval sources, might not be one-to-one, but I'm still messing with it a little bit. But anytime I can get something in real life to pull from, I'll take that as reference, because real life has an amazing amount, that you can just inform everything that you're trying to make. Even if you're making something stylized, you can use that as a base. So hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. My next question is, what does your process look like? Are you given concept art, or do you create it and then design it in 3D?
Normally, what you would have is a concept artist that would do the concept first, because you don't want, even if you're doing the concept 3D model from it before you do the final model, you don't want to waste time going into crazy different directions or something that the director doesn't want. Funny enough, that's the normal process, but funny enough, like projects I've worked on wind up being that I'm usually making it without concept art, or like not for Legacy of Kain necessarily, because we do also have concept art from the games already, but working on a film studio before, and we didn't have concept art for doing a lot of the characters, and the director doesn't know exactly what he wants, so you're just making them, and then we'll make it over and we'll do it again. And it's just kind of, it's not quite the right way to do it. Usually it is you definitely want to not waste time, because 3D models take a lot of time to make and a lot of effort, and you're paying somebody to do this. So you want to have the concept down first, and you go off of that. But again, if you're making your own stuff, you can do whatever you want. And sometimes even in, again, the world where this is how it should work, you might be asked to kind of come up with it on your own.
So you kind of end up being a hybrid concept and 3D artist at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I can do that oftentimes because I kind of know in my head what I want. It is harder for other people they would like to have the orthographic views of like front, side, back, and like maybe a 3/4 view. Like they want to have that already, so before they go and just make anything. So it depends on the person, I guess, and also depends on like what the project is requiring. But
that makes sense. Do you have any advice for students aspiring for 3D careers?
If you're passionate about, like I am, like Legacy of Kain, like you can make fan art of it and try and like learn from that, learn from what other 3D artists are making. Like again, ArtStation has a great examples of doing that in process breakdowns that a lot of people will do for how they made things. There's also a learning section. YouTube for me was great. I didn't even go to school to learn how to do this. So I went to school for film, but I just went to YouTube, like how do I do that, and watch people, make things and trying to learn as much as possible as I could to inform what I was doing. Like these programs aren't easy to just natively kind of like pick up and go, oh yeah, I can figure this out. So that's a wealth of knowledge just out there to people just are posting like, oh yeah, this is how I sculpted this in ZBrush. This is how I made a low poly model in Maya, and how I rigged it, Making what inspires you and what you love. Like if you want to be a character modeler and you want to, even if it's not something that you are a fan of, maybe you're just finding concept art and maybe I'll make that and see how that works. And there's a lot of these pieces that are out there that you can use as reference and make the characters and make the models. And then if you post them on ArtStation, you can say, okay, this is the original art that I was making it from. And then that's a great way to kind of learn from.
I kind of want to echo your answer there because, my discipline coming out of school was directing and editing. And, that's what I knew how to do. And that's kind of where I built my career. But over the years, I've had to learn After Effects. A lot of the time, if I'm making stuff for the channel, and it's like, okay, if I want to do this, I'm going to have to do it myself. And so it's, I've looked up so many After Effects tutorials and learned basically, everything I know about After Effects, that I didn't learn from the guys I worked with at our old place, I learned on YouTube.
So my last question is, what do you do when you're not rendering incredible character designs?
Sleep, maybe? No.
None of that.
Yeah, none of that. There's never sleep. I have a band that I'm in with my cousin, so I do that on my free time. And, we practice in my basement. I play drums, and then we have a rock band that we rock out to. Yeah. So that's really cool.
Patrick's even more cool than you think.
Also, my roommate is I used to work with in my previous job in the film studio. He has his own film studio, like nonprofit studio that he has. So I go and I just hung out with them last night at the studio. Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, that's cool for me because it's been a long time removed from an actual just a live production of film. Like I've been working on film studio where I'm making 3D characters again, and you're building that world. But this is, and they're doing actual set up the actual camera and like get the actors and film it stuff. So
That's
really cool.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for answering, Patrick.
My last question for you is, what does your dream role look like, or your dream project, either one?
I love, I do love what I was doing before. I was a production designer for film, and like not just working on character models. I worked on the character models there, but it was also helping with different departments and, from the storyboards and artists and environment artists and everything to try and build kind of like that world. So anything that I can help build the world of, but definitely for Legacy of Kain, if we get the opportunity to do that and help hone that world and then create the characters and make it feel like it lives and breathes and bring that story to life, that would be everything, so that's definitely my dream. And working with, again, the team that we've worked with here, like we pull that back together and continue doing that. I mean, can't really ask for anything more than that,
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was incredible. Like we all came together on this and made this work. But like every meeting and everything that we were in together, like the team is gelling and everyone's going above and beyond everything that they were asked to do. It's just doing it because they loved what they were seeing and they loved how this was turning out. So
I said it before, like this is I think our best remaster yet from all the ones I worked on until now. So all the skill and also great technical team on PW side, and now the art just meshed so well together. And I hope that when people look at our remaster, they look, oh wow, they've done so much. I don't want to be one of those like, oh, they just upscale something, push the button and was done and dusted. No, it's just so much work which went into this, and I hope people appreciate what we've done.
This is incredible, like how this just kept up in the ante.
Yeah, ramping up.
We kept doing it anyway. Like even the skins. How many skins are we putting this? Like it just kept. I've just made this huge list of skins, and I was like, oh my god, you want to get them all in? Well, okay. Poor Patrick. Now I remember suggesting like one or two at the end. You were like, more skins? I'm like, well, yeah. What am I doing?
I was like, are you sure?
I've told Raina this a bunch of times, but the level of attention to detail in every aspect of this game is just phenomenal. And the love comes through. So thank you for all of your work on this.
I appreciate it. I'm so thankful for the team. Like everyone's, even a couple people who haven't even played a Legacy of Kain game are on the team, but they're still putting forth that effort. I think it kind of became infectious. Like you just want to see this work, so it was amazing. And I'm so thankful that probably 90% of the fan feedback has been like, oh, really, they've been really happy with it and all. And that's really great to see. I've never seen a remaster like this, like that's got so much, even all that Dylan put into like the ring menu and just the insane amount of like additional lore to things. And we have all the models in there, and that's never been a thing in Defiance, obviously. So we built that from scratch. I mean, it's completely built from scratch. Andrew made that work. And incredible. It's a few steps away, I still say, from being like a full remake. Like it's just... Yeah.
It's like so, right on the line.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it needs to be its own category for... Not a remaster, it's not a remake. It's something else.
I did say to Ben, was it like remakester?
The remakester,
I'm over the moon, really, but... Yeah, that was a lot of work, though. It's the hardest. I will say that's the hardest I've ever worked on any project in my life. But I definitely, and I wasn't asked to like crunch or anything, but I'm putting forth this effort just because I want it to look. You don't want it to be, but like I'm treating it like if this is like the last bit of LOK anything to ever be put out, I want to give it my best effort. And finally, I can put models in that I've wanted to put into these games for all this time, and make new ones and everything. So if this is the way it's going to go out, it's going to go out with every bit of ounce of my effort into it. So that's what I did. And every one on the team put in so much. It's amazing seeing so much texture work and such a time constraint, but still like just putting forth so much effort. It's crazy. Like just to watch these models and textures just come to life week to week. I was like, whoa. We're all like in meetings going, wow, that's amazing.
On a personal level, I really appreciate all the work that you both have done and put into this. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
so
Really,
much, Ben.
like, yeah, this
Appreciate
is, it's great. Again, just seeing the passion and people in the community like you and everyone just like so happy with it, over the moon. When I see 97% positive on Steam, and what was it, 93 or 94% on PlayStation, just like all these, and all these,
it was really
even
high.
even like PC Gamer or whatever, like giving us such praise. I'm like, this is awesome, you know. What more can you ask for, right? So I'm just glad that you can't please every single human being and can't please every fan, of course, but like for the majority and for everyone that we could possibly try to please, we have poured our hearts out to do that. Like we're fans, and we want you to, as fans, to enjoy this too. So like seeing that people are really enjoying it is just amazing.
I think that is the perfect note to end the interview on. So thank you. So Patrick Johnson, the Hylden, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a fantastic talk. And Raina, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching. And if you like what you see and you want to see more, do the things. Do the things, Raziel. Come on, do the things.
Do the things.